Hello, this is a tutorial on instructional strategy lecture and the different types of technologies that you can use to actually add lectures to your classrooms. First of all, the tool that we're going to use is called Video Everywhere, and it's built right into Blackboard. So if you're an online faculty or a face-to-face faculty, you can use it. We're going to talk a little bit about why you would want to consider adding a lecture built with technology into your classrooms. And whenever there's something different between online and face-to-face, we'll point that out. But for the most part, you can use it in both environments. If you think about a flipped classroom model, the old way of doing things was the instructor would lecture in class and then send the student home to apply that content. In a flipped model, we actually want the students working in class, applying and analyzing and evaluating. And we want them accessing content at home. So they're going to read the book at home, and they can also access a lecture at home and then come to class prepared. So generally, when you're thinking about what you would do with the lecture as far as the content, if you think about Bloom's taxonomy, Bloom's level 1 and 2, so the knowledge, foundational knowledge level with the understanding and remembering, that's actually where you're going to want to put that lecture at that level. When you get the students into class, applying, starting with level 3, applying and analyzing and evaluating and creating, you want the students to do those in class. So you can have a little one-on-one with them, and if they need some additional help, if it's important to see what other students are doing, everybody's right there. So what exactly would you do with a lecture? Why is a lecture an instructional strategy that you may want to consider? Well, it allows you to push content. So it allows you to maybe introduce a topic or create a warm-up situation before students get into maybe what you're going to actually have them do in class. The best way to utilize it is to not repeat what's in the book. They already have the book. You would like them to read what's been assigned in the book, but you would like to add some additional information. Maybe help them make a connection between the content and the real world. Again, making it pre-work, so something that they have to do on the front end before they go to class, and then in class, it would have been important for them to have watched the lecture as well as read the content that you've provided, whether it's articles or book or website or whatever, so that they're ready to actually apply that work. It also allows you to challenge the imagination. Maybe you can play devil's advocate and go in a different direction than the authors of the textbook did. Get them to start thinking about things from a different perspective. Maybe in your lecture you point out something to them that you want them to think about, and maybe they have to take a side or form an opinion and be ready to come to class to talk about their view, their opinion, and be able to defend it. And again, this strategy can be used in online as well as face-to-face environment. There isn't anything that would be not possible to do in the online world, to have something that comes specifically from you, not just reading assignments, but comes specifically from you, makes it more personal for the online student. And maybe it's a pre-work or kind of a kickoff. So it's something to think about ahead of time before or as they're in the process of gauging with the book content, and then you can talk about it in the discussion board. Maybe you play devil's advocate or redirect the conversation that's going on. So one of the nice features about doing some type of recording of a lecture is it allows students to replay it. If they show up to class and you are lecturing to them, they can take some notes, but if they would like to re-listen to that entire lecture, they generally don't have the opportunity to do that unless they recorded it. So the fact that you've recorded your lecture using some technology, they would have the ability to play it over and over and over again if that's what helps them. So the tool I'm going to talk about is called Video Everywhere. You can access it from a number of places, basically anywhere that you can get a dialog box with a toolbar. So it can be in seminar folders or weekly folders, or it can be in the discussion board area. I'm just going to click on the discussion board and show you how to use it there. So I'm just going to pick one of these forums that already is in existence, and I'm going to create a new thread. So maybe I'm going to title it the Video Everywhere feature. If you go into Blackboard and it looks like this, you just have this first line of the toolbar, you come down to the drop-down menu, and it gives you the 3 lines of the toolbar. This little icon right here is what you're looking for. It's a circle with a little dot in it, and it's supposed to represent a webcam. If you hold your mouse over it, if you hover over it for a second, it'll say record from webcam, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to click on that, and it opens up this box. Now everybody who is using Blackboard and has a Baker Gmail account, that means they're automatically part of the entire Google educational app family. And one of those apps is YouTube. You may not have known this, but YouTube is actually owned by Google. So what you're going to do is you're going to have to sign in to your YouTube account, and you would use the same login that you use to get into any of your Baker stuff, your email or your Blackboard. So I'm just going to go ahead and log in. And put my password in. Helps if I type it correctly. And it helps if I actually use my Baker rather than my personal one. There we go. And you will be told to, or be asked to grant some access. And so you'll do that, and basically that was just saying that Blackboard wants to connect to your YouTube account, and will you authorize that? So you click on record from webcam, and you're going to get this dialog box here, start recording. Now it's a good idea to check your lighting and all this type of thing, and making sure, I use a headset, you'll see that when the video pops on, and I think that's a good idea to use a headset as well, because it kind of helps eliminate some extraneous noise. So when you're ready to go, you should have everything planned out that you want to say. I do think it's a good idea to try to keep these things around 5 minutes or less. If you go over by a minute or two, that's fine. You generally don't want to make these things too long without maybe chunking them into pieces. If it starts getting to the point where it's 10, 15 minutes long, you might want to think about making more than one. So I'm going to hit start recording. Now you can see that my picture screen has popped up. You can kind of check your lighting if you like what you have. I'm going to move my light fixture to a different position, and when I'm ready, I will click OK, and it will start recording. Hello, this is the lecture for week 1. I am going to give you some content. I'm going to pass some information on to you that I think is important for you to know. And we're going to discuss this in class. Again, you might have 5 minutes worth of information here. And when you're done, you hit stop recording. So at this particular point, when you're done, a dialog box will pop up here, actually a little kind of a click box that'll talk about upload. And once you have, there it is. So once that pops up, you click upload. And you have 2 choices. You have play in place, so this just puts it right in line in the discussion board. That's the one I'm going to use. But thumbnail is also one you might want to consider, and as you can see here, video opens up in a new window. I don't normally play with the height and the width at all because I'm not sure what type of device somebody's going to use. They might be using a smartphone or a tablet, so I don't necessarily want to change this and make this really large. It would maybe entail a lot of scrolling with them that we really don't want to do. So I'm just going to leave it where it is, and I'm going to hit insert, and then I'll hit submit. And so we now have our lecture for week 1, and any student that needs to get access to this would just click on this and play it. And so at that point, you've now launched for them. They have the ability to launch that video and watch that lecture that you've created, and then in order to make that valuable, to make sure that students will actually do that, you need to have an activity in class that ties directly to that material. If you don't, there's really no reason for a student to bother to take the 5 to 10 minutes, whatever it takes to do that, unless you're going to utilize it right away. So there you go. There's an idea on how to use lecture, and in this particular case, the technology built right into Blackboard called Video Everywhere, and go ahead and put together a video lecture for your students. Thanks.